What do you think it means to have the best ever start in Minecraft Hardcore? Well, today I'm going to show you. First, we need to start up a world, chop a tree, make wooden tools, and then some stone tools. Then, we need to follow a Minecraft tradition and kill every single animal within a 100 block range. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been playing Minecraft for about 13 years now off and on, but I've never played hardcore mode, or even single player for that matter. And I think if I want to survive to do all the big things I want to in this video, like make over 10 different farms, create a starter house, and create the best villager trading hall that's ever been seen, I'm gonna need to go get some iron and make some good armor, because this may not be my first attempt at trying this. While down in the mines, I found my first diamonds. And that just inspired me to get a lot more diamonds. So that's what I spent a good bit of time doing. Which allowed me to upgrade a few tools and pieces of armor. With the basics of Minecraft out of the way, now it's time to actually get down to business and plan out what we're going to do here. I found this field that I think could work pretty well. The goal here is going to make a whole Quidditch pitch, one of the largest ones seen in Minecraft, let alone hardcore, and then we can put all of our villagers in there. So up on this hill is where we're going to make our starter base. And every good starter base needs a way down to bedrock. So we are going to dig a mine the whole way down. And this totally didn't take an hour and a half. And with that out of the way, we can now start making our actual house. And I think I'm going to try a new editing style here and see if I can edit to a song. So here we go. And just like that, our house is now done. Took a few hours longer than I expected, but I think it came out pretty well. And let me give you a quick little tour. Got everything you would expect out of a starter base, some storage, all of our furnaces and crafting table, a secret chest for all of our valuables, an upstairs with our bed, where our enchanting setup's gonna go, a nice little patio so we can get a nice view. Right there is where our Quidditch pitch is gonna be, so we'll be able to see that all nice and clean. And then in the basement is where our mine is, goes the whole way down, and we got another portal. So now we need to work on some starting farms because I am very broke. Like a cow farm? A sheep farm? a pig farm, an automated chicken farm that also cooks the chicken, sugarcane, automatic cactus, pumpkin and melon, bamboo, sweet berries, spruce, cherry, and acacia trees, mangrove and jungle trees, and finally dark oak, normal oak, and spruce. Then we got all the crops like wheat, carrots, beetroot, and potatoes. And now we can finally start building our villager hub. Now this is going to take a lot of oval shapes, and since we are playing 1.21, which just came out, we don't have all those fancy mods that do all the building for you like most of the YouTube videos out there. So we're going to need to freehand this. But I think we can still give it a shot. We'll use some snow to make the outline. And right about here is where I realize how much terraforming this project's going to involve. I thought putting it between two mountains would be a good idea, but that might cost me a good 30 hours down the road. We'll see. And we're done with the outline, which means we can now build the next string. Like this. And with that we can build the next layer like this. And finally the last one like this. Now to build the pitch we're going to want some variance in there, so I think we're going to need to alternate between grass and green terracotta. Which means we need to go find some terracotta and mine for a few hours. With a quick break to take care of this scammer. And then some sand. And all this might not seem like a big deal, but you gotta remember, I'm only a few days into this world, so my tools are not good and they're breaking fast. Now that we have all of our materials, we need to figure out what pattern we're gonna place. I think if we just alternate the terracotta with the grass, it should give us the nice textured look we're going for. We can start with the easy part, with placing the sand on either side. And to round it all out, the middle circle. Now I couldn't help but feeling that something was missing. And it hit me. This is Survivor Minecraft. And this is a lot of blocks that have no lighting. So I think to add some texture and to make this place a bit safer, we should line it with lichen. Which means it's time to head to the nether. And hopefully you didn't judge that embarrassingly long fight with a ghast before I just gave up. But we need to find some bones, because we need a lot of glow lichen. And while in the nether, I found the netherite template, which will definitely help us later. And with the help of all those bones, we can start placing the lichen. I think I'm going to do it on the grass block just because it stands out a bit more. but luckily I can just use the bone meal to place it all. I don't even need to place it. And with that, the pitch is done. And it looks even cooler at night. Here, let me show you. And here's where I want to mention a huge shout out to Planet Dragonod. He has some videos going over how to build a Quidditch pitch, and I've heavily inspired this based on it. I definitely put my own twist on it, but without his inspiration I probably wouldn't be making this. And for this next part, I definitely needed his guidance. And with that, the first corner is done, which means we now just need to repeat it for 1, 2, and 3 more times. And now all 4 corners are done and have a slope. And now it's time to make some decisions about how the rest of this build's gonna go. For the towers, we need to decide what block we're gonna use between wool, concrete, and terracotta. We need to do all the house colors and decide which looks best. I think I'm leaning towards concrete, so I think I'm gonna go with that. And with that, go back to material gathering. So we need to get many chests of gravel, many chests of sand, and then a few stacks of every type of dye. And then, because I don't have a concrete converter, we gotta do it the good old-fashioned way and spend a good hour or so converting it all. Good thing for Netflix. And after getting some quick glowstone, we're ready to start the towers. Once my tower got above 50 blocks, which is outside of my water bucket clutching skills, I really decided it's time to tackle the Ender Dragon. So I had to head back to the Nether and get all blaze rods and Ender Pearls. Root up some quick potions. And went on my way to find the anchor there. And finding the room once we finally got there took about 15 minutes. So I think we need a little montage of that. And with that, we can start the epic dragon fight, which you will see probably a couple thousand times, so I'm just going to quickly speed through that. And now we can do what we actually came to the end for. Get an Elytra. We might as well pick up some shovels on the way. And because Elytras have no durability, we need to start with villagers. So I brought a bunch into a hole deep underground, and we're going to start breeding them. And then I get librarians, get mending, unbreaking, and I actually have a way of transporting onto these dang towers. And now we can get back to the towers. We already got Tower 1 done, so now let's do Tower 2. Tower 3. And Tower 4. And while up here, I noticed we passed day 200. Time sure is flying on this thing. And now we can jump to the next type of tower building. It has this little curve in it, so it's only a little bit different than the straight edge ones. But we've gone through all of our concrete that we converted on those last ones, so now we're just going to use some powder. Hopefully it looks cool when we pour water down it at the end. And it did turn out looking good. And using water saved us a full diamond pickaxe ton of converting, so that's a win as well. The next type of tower is just a straight corner edge, so it should be pretty easy to build. So let's give it a shot. And with that, the first tower is done, which means we can do more transitions like this to the second tower. And to the third. And finally to the fourth. And now all that's needed is to add the top of the towers, which we can do just like this. And now that we've got all 12 towers done, we need to add a place for spectators. So we need to decorate all 3 versions of the towers in their own unique way, and I think another montage would be good for that. And they're done. Those should make a pretty good home for librarians once we get to that point, but for now I think they look pretty dang good. So in the Chamber of Secrets, when Harry's being chased by that bludger, do you remember the tunnel they go through right by the side of the pitch? That's what I think I need to work on next. And this may have taken as long as watching all three Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so for a detail that you can't really see, it still came out really well. And the digging's done. But to actually build it, we're gonna need a ton of logs. And later parts of this project are gonna need a ton too, so we need to take a break and go get all that. And with a quick jump, the tunnel is done. I figured you guys have seen enough building for now, and this is a part that we really don't see much, so it's now done. We can fly around just like Harry and Draco. And just like Harry, I almost died. Now, before we go any further, as we look around, we can see we've made quite a mess by putting this between two mountains. So I think we need to spend an evening terraforming a bit. And just like that, the landscape is beautiful again. Which means we can get back to building and build the rest of the spectator stands. And with that, we now pass day 300. I need to make 4 of each of these supports and pedestrian sitting areas. So let's start with the easy one, the one that just goes straight across. Next, we need to make the 4 curved supports. the 4 edge supports. And finally, the 2 end supports. And with that, all of the stands are done. That was definitely a lot bigger and more detailed than I expected, but I think it looks totally worth it. And now for one of the most important pieces, the goalposts. And with the hoops done, we now have a completed Quidditch pitch. So we can fly around simulating the game, throw snowballs through the hoops, and just generally we have a really good pitch now. But that's not really enough. We need to do something that's never been done before. These towers are usually made of fabric, and the closest thing to fabric inside Minecraft are banners. So what if we used thousands of banners to simulate the different styles in the movies? Now, as of this point, I've been preparing for this a bit by shearing sheep this whole time, and I've gotten a few double chests worth of wool so far. But little did I know, after starting this, I would quickly realize how much wool it takes to make a banner. And I didn't do the math on it ahead of time, but I would need over 90,000 wool to make all these banners. I was actually so worried about these banners not working that I threw on some shaders and recorded an ending to this video just in case. And I think it's still worth showing just because it looks pretty cool flying around. Now, I've never really made banners before, so I was kind of making it up as I went. Because we gotta make 5 different sets of banners here. The Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff ones, as well as the black and white ones for the other stands. So, I don't know how well they came out, but I think they end up being a pretty good product. So I started to place the banners, and here's what they're looking like as of now, and it's just not quite doing it. We definitely need to do the double layer, which means we need to double the number of banners. And right about here is where I started to realize just how much wool this was going to take. But we also passed day 400 here. Hopefully we get this whole thing done by day 500 because, oh, I did not expect this. So I expanded the sheep farm and made it big enough so that I can just constantly shear sheep, and by the time I get back to the beginning, they're all ready to go again. All these chests is just a few rounds of that. Every tower takes at least a whole chest of banners. So definitely need all these sheep. And these sheep aren't even everything there. There's a few more layers on. So I redid the Gryffindor tower with banners on every single block, and it definitely looks 10 times better. So now we just got to do that for the rest of the place. I have about 8-ish hours of footage for this next piece, so I definitely think we need a montage here. And just like that, the banners are done. I think they look pretty good. So you're gonna have to wait till the final montage to see what these look like with a mod installed that keeps them fully loaded. But even just as is, when they load when you get close, they look pretty cool. And it also means we no longer need 1,600 sheep here, which means it's time to kill them all. And before we do the villagers, we need a few more spectators. Luckily I've been killing cows this whole time, so I have at least a double chest of leather. So let's go place armor stands all around the stands. Now this isn't your typical villager trading hall. It's very big and weird shaped. But it actually worked out perfectly that every single piece of the stands can be its own villager type, and then all the librarians can go in the towers. and it's the perfect number for how many villager trading types there are. But the pain is we need to build a rail to every single section, transport a few villagers, and come back and change the rail so we go to the next one. So this might take a few nights. And while pushing the 150 villages that we needed up this rail, I needed some more iron for the minecarts. So while looking for that, I came across a trial chamber. And I'm gonna cut back to what happened my last attempt at doing hardcore for this video. I couldn't just wimp out though and not give it another shot, so I just dove right in, even though I still have no clue how these things work. And with the key I got from the first spawner, I ended up getting nothing good. And that was kind of what happened this whole entire thing. Since I've googled it, apparently you can have like harder versions of this and get better loot, but I didn't know that, so I'm just going to mostly skip through the rest of this and get back to our build, where all of the villagers have now been unloaded into their homes. Which means we can break all these rails, place all the job blocks, and right on day 500, we are now done. So thank you so much for watching. This was the first Minecraft video I've tried to make, and it's taken over a month. You can see I took up to 500 days to make it. Make sure to go check out Planet Dragonod, because he was a huge inspiration for this build. And if you want to see more, please consider subscribing, letting me know what you think in the comments, and any ideas you should think I should make in the next hardcore. Thank you, and enjoy this final montage. In a time when the world was young, there existed a race of builders, legendary architects capable of shaping the land with their bare hands. They constructed wonders beyond imagination, monuments rising from the earth, cities beneath the oceans, structures lost to time, and most mysterious of all, the trial chambers. Hidden deep underground, these chambers were said to be their most protected creations. built to secure their most prized possessions, artifacts of immense power, rare ores, and treasures long sought after by adventurers. But the builders were cunning. Their chambers were no simple vaults. They filled these chambers with traps, trials, and ancient magic to ensure that only the bravest, or most foolish, would dare to enter. And today, I'm daring to take on that challenge. 50 trial chambers stand between me and untold riches, each one more dangerous than the last. In this hardcore world, one mistake could end it all. First thing we need to do is get plenty of ominous bottles. It's this new bottle in the latest update to trigger our raids, and we also need them to make the better trials. So I think the best way to do that is to make a farm at this pillager outpost. Luckily, I already grabbed everything I'm gonna need, so let's get cracking. And just like that, the farm is done. So let's go down and check what a quick 15-minute test drive got us. This will definitely be enough. Let's do a quick armor upgrade. Grab all of our supplies, and we are ready to go. Now we are going to get a bit of help from a structure finder, just to help us save time. First trial chamber, we're going to go forward, very close to our base though. So with very little knowledge of what I was getting myself into, I dropped in and drank my first bottle. I saw all of these vases and barrels, and this is when I decided I'm going to loot everything I can for these runs. That way we get a good, accurate count of how much loot we can get. And then I came across my first spawners, so I was able to see what these fights were going to be like and what the next 50 hours of my life were going to be. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was pretty easy. And hopefully it's going to continue to be easy, right? So I kept trucking along, and this is right about when I realized that some of these spawners give some really bad loot. But I wasn't going to be deterred by the bad, and instead set out to find more of the good. Then when I came across these cave spiders, I started to wonder how many different mobs can actually spawn in these trial chambers. And it turns out that it's 11, so we're definitely going to get some variety here. And just like that, I managed to finish my first trial. It was actually a lot easier than I was expecting, and I came out with a lot of good loot. It came to be about 25 minutes or so to beat it, so this will definitely be a journey, but I bet we'll be able to do it a lot quicker next time. Full of optimism, I went down into the second trial chamber and decided to start it out by opening one of the keys. And I still did not get the core we need for the mace. We're still waiting for that. Now I'm sure everyone's seen 20 videos on how these things are run and the best path to take and really everything about them. So let's just do a quick key opening montage and then gear up for the epic finale. And side note, the slime is definitely awesome as a new player that doesn't have any farms in this world yet. Here I got my first heavy core, so I can now make a mace. We made it. We made it through 49 trial chambers, and now we are on number 50. And right around the time when I started to record this, the replay mod finally came out for 1.21. So I was finally able to get some cool 3D cinematic shots. So for the 50th trial chamber, I figured, why not give it a shot? Let's see how fast we can go, and let's see what all loot we can get from the very last one. I got to a point where I was really averaging about 10 minutes per chamber. A few of them a little longer if it had the taller towers. Especially I had like, one of them had like 4 of those tall towers. And that just really slowed me down because those take a while with all the skeletons shooting you down. I'm hoping that all this looks pretty good. It's my first time using replay mod, so all the movements are a bit different. Definitely took me longer to do the replay mod for this clip than to actually play the game, so that's always a great experience. Weird thinking about how most of the keys I did in this trial chamber are probably some of the last ones I'll be opening, because in reality I just did 50 of them, so I have all the loot I'll ever need from them. But guess you never know. I'm gonna speed up this clip just so we can try to see more of this trial chamber without it making the video 30 minutes long. So here's us going down one of the main hallways. Got spiders, slimes. Definitely a great source of slime. I've got a few stacks of blocks, which I'll be showing you soon when we do the full reveal. Gotta remember to always check these underground areas. They have a few chests. A few of the chests have some good stuff, but for the most part it's not really all that great. I started to wonder, like, is this mod like X-ray? Like, I'm seeing all the caves and structures and everything, but it's not like I'm ever gonna go back to these areas, so I really don't think it's cheating. And definitely gonna give myself a pass, because I mean, at the end of the day, what are a few more diamonds? They're so easy to mine nowadays. And just like that, all 50 chambers have been defeated. Now, let me give you a quick visual on the path we took, because we did quite a bit of exploring here. So we definitely got our steps in for this month, but before I show you all of our loot, I am going to do a quick little montage of mining all the ores we got from this. So with that out of the way, we can now get on to the loot. So in this world, I have defeated 51 trial chambers because of the one I did in the first episode, and I have opened 235 ominous keys and 78 trial keys. So definitely a good bit. I got tons of Windburst books as well as other enchanted books, plenty of banner patterns, more cakes than I know what to do with, a couple chests of breeze wads, as well as bones, arrows, and wind charges, and almost a full chest of music discs. But now for the good stuff. As you can see, we got plenty of slime blocks, golden apples, emerald blocks, diamonds, iron, but we also got 20 heavy cores, which means we can make 20 of the brand new weapons in this update, which is kind of amazing. We came in just a bit under half of the time you will get one of these, so just keep that in mind for your future endeavors. And then this chest just has a bunch of the miscellaneous stuff I got, as well as some bad diamond gear that I really can't imagine I'll ever use. So thank you a ton for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing. And yeah, I hope you're here for the next videos. I got a really good one coming out soon since I haven't uploaded in a while, and I actually recorded this video about 3 months ago. So you got a good one coming, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya! Welcome to Minecraft Hardcore, where we take dreams and forge them into gold-plated monuments of sheer insanity. Today's quest: create the world's largest gold beacon, bigger than your average ego, shinier than my future, and the centerpiece of the most epic showdown between good and evil you've ever witnessed. This is a 2-part saga of triumph and chaos, and it all begins right now. First things first, storage. We're about to hoard so much gold, we'll need a small forest's worth of chests to keep it all organized. Next up, beacons. In order to use our gold farm and not die, we're going to definitely need a few beacons. So it's time to hit the nether and pick a fight with the wither. And hopefully avoid any more close calls like that, because I've spent way too much time in this world to lose it. Nothing says Minecraft Hardcore like fighting a wither while questioning all your life choices. Since this is a pearl-based farm, we need to stop by the end and mine for a few hours of obsidian. Now it's time to create the Golden Goose, the gold farm. First, we lay down an ocean of magma blocks, light an absurd amount of portals, and hope the zombie piglins don't unionize. And now, let there be gold and experience. And after 1 hour, we come back and nearly got a full inventory of gold blocks. Definitely glad these autocrafters are a thing now. But you know we couldn't stop until we hit level 1000, and we finally did that after a couple more hours. Minecraft gods, take notes. This is peak efficiency. But we're not quite done in the nether yet. We need blackstone, quartz, and a bunch of other goodies for future builds. So, enter the piglin bartering farm. I went for a super simple farm design, where basically I just fly back and forth, wait for piglins to spawn, name tag them, and push them in a hole. Now, we're rolling in blackstone and quartz, and this farm might look simple, but it's a total game changer for what's coming up next. And with all of our gold brought over from the nether, we can finally start building the pyramid. Placing these first few blocks feels pretty magical, but after a few hours it hit me. This is going to take a very long time to place down, so I think we need to get strategic here. So to speed things up, we're going to build a wither skeleton farm. Why? Because we'll need a ton of beacons to cover this whole pyramid, and I'm not about to place gold blocks for the rest of my life. Luckily, this farm is super simple to build, only took a few hours, and it's the definition of efficiency. The wither skeletons show up, we take them out, and the skulls start to roll in. With all these skulls, it's time to fight a lot of withers. Thankfully, I've got the end as my battleground, and with a simple hole underneath the portal, this is going to be pretty easy. And with newly 2 stacks of beacons crafted, we can get them all placed out. Each beacon is perfectly calculated to keep us moving fast while building, and while math has never been this satisfying or shiny, it definitely hit the spot here. And now, the grind begins, block by block, layer by layer. But hey, who said building a world record pyramid would be easy? And why is this pyramid even here? I think we need to look back at ancient times to figure that one out.
Long ago, in the dawn of Minecraft's creation, a race of beings known as the Orions ruled the overworld. They were the first master builders, gifted with unparalleled knowledge of block crafting and alchemy. The Orions worshipped a golden light, an eternal energy source believed to be the origin of all creation. To honor this power, they constructed the Eternal Gold Pyramid, a beacon of their devotion and mastery. This wasn't just a symbol of faith, it was also a fortress to guard the golden light against the void rulers, malevolent entities from the end seeking to snuff out creation.
And after countless hours and days, it's finally done. The largest gold beacon in Minecraft hardcore history. But wait, we're just getting started here.
Legend has it, this pyramid was built to protect the realm's most powerful treasure. But with great power comes great enemies. From the shadows to dragon guards, determined to claim the gold. To stop the dragon, the pyramid called upon its guardians and its ancient protector.
To bring this battle to life, I need materials. A lot of materials. Blackstone, deep slate gold ore, and enough mangrove logs to start a furniture store. So let's start by getting the blackstone from our piglin farm and crafting it into the different types. Then we need to start probably the most time-consuming part of this whole project. Deep slate gold ore, raw gold blocks, and diamond blocks. We actually need quite a lot of them. And quite a lot of them we got. And we've got a lot of other ores, which means we are now rich for a good while. Next thing we need is a ton of mangrove logs. And fun fact, mangrove trees are 90% roots and 10% why did I think this was a good idea? So I think it's time to build a farm. We don't actually have any farms yet in this world, so I think we need to start an industrial district, and this looks like a pretty good place for it. So let's get a border placed down just so we have an idea of what we're working with. And that looks pretty good. I can't wait for like a year from now when this thing's full and we can look back and be like, wow, it used to just be grass. Now for the mangrove tree farm. We don't actually need that many materials, but I've never built a wood farm before, so this should be interesting. And after getting the farm loaded up with bone meal and making a different farm for the saplings, the propagoules, we're ready to use the farm. Now, we also need all the other types of wood, so I figured we should make a different tree farm. But to do that, we're going to need a lot of bone meal, so let's make a bone meal farm first. So I decided just to do it all together. And with the big things out of the way, we can finally just finish up the rest of the materials needed. And everything's now gathered. We got this crude little sorting system up, and now I think it's time to give the pyramid some flair. Blackstone walls all around, we need to make some podiums for the guardians, and overall just give it a nice ominous vibe.
The Oran civilization flourished for eons, but their greatest fear came true. The Void Rulers found a way to reach the dimensions. A colossal battle ensued, with the pyramid at the center of the storm. The Guardians fought valiantly, and the angel and dragon clashed in the sky above. In the end, the Orans vanished, leaving behind only their creations. The pyramid was buried under centuries of sand and stone, forgotten by man. Some say the Orans ascended to the stars, while others believe they are trapped in another dimension, still fighting for rulers.
And as the final touches were put on the pyramid, the guardians started to rise.
The Orans knew that even their craftsmanship might not withstand an attack of Void Rulers. To protect the pyramid, they summoned the four eternal guardians, each representing a core virtue of their civilization.
First, we have Leo the lion, strong, fearless, and always ready to pounce. Fun fact, he once scared off a creeper just by roaring. Probably because creepers don't have ears, but let's not ruin the story. Next is Barkley, the loyal Dargo. He's the best boy, protecting the pyramid from skeletons, phantoms, and bad vibes. Third, we have Whiskers, the cat. Stealthy, graceful, and loves knocking gold blocks off of the edge just to watch me suffer. And finally, there's Griffin the Griffin. Half eagle, half lion, 100% majestic. He's here to keep the skies clear of dragons, or at least make them jealous. And together, these four are the guardians of the pyramid.
The Orans' greatest creation was the Angel of Light, a golden sentinel infused with the essence of the golden light itself. This statue wasn't just a god, it was a living guardian, bound to rise as the pyramid ever faced destruction. The angel represented hope, peace, and the promise that the overworld would never fall into darkness. But the Void Raiders were coming. They created their own champion, the Shadow Dragon, a creature born of the void. Unlike the angel, the dragon thrived on chaos and destruction. It was said to have consumed entire biomes to fuel its dark power, leaving nothing but barren wastelands behind.
Today, this pyramid stands not just as a testament to the Orin's craftsmanship, but as a reminder of their sacrifices. By rebuilding it, we honor their legacy and awaken their story once more. And perhaps somewhere out there, the Orins are watching, hoping their golden monument inspires a new generation of builders. Thank you for joining me on this insane journey. This build took me many months, and in the world it took me from day 750 to 2300. So it definitely took me a very long time, and I'd appreciate is you don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite part about the build. It definitely put me outside my comfort zone, but I think it came out pretty good. So I'll see you next time for another hardcore adventure. Thanks, bye.
We've got a problem. I have chests all over this world, and I don't know what's in any of them. I don't even know what all blocks I've crafted so far. So to figure this out, I'm going to do what all hardcore Minecraft players do, and collect every block in the game. And this is Minecraft 1.21, so there's a lot of blocks. But we just can't place the blocks anywhere. We need to give them the respect they deserve. So we need to build a whole underground museum. And what better place than right under our very own arena? So let's get started by placing about a stack of beacons. And now that we can dig faster than Steve ever intended, we can get started on this giant construction site. Figuring out the size of this whole project is going to be quite difficult, so we need to start by digging a trench, and it's going to go quite deep. After about a week of digging and very little progress being made, we needed to speed this up, so we're gonna go the TNT route, which means we need some gunpowder. Fun fact, when I started playing this game about 12 years ago, my name was actually Drumming Creeper, because I knew nothing about the game except creepers were in it. The farm came out great, and after letting it run for a few nights, we were ready to get going. But first, we had to go get some sand. Luckily, the desert and I are well acquainted at this point. I haven't actually used manual TNT in about 10 years, so I'm really not sure how this is gonna go. I haven't even crafted this much before, so I'm hoping it doesn't like crash my world or kill me. And like all things, the moment of truth is here. Let's see how much a couple shulker boxes can do. And the answer is nearly nothing, which I was very disappointed by, and it left quite a mess, which means we need to ramp up production. So we made our creeper farm into a quad creeper farm. And after just one night of AFKing this, I had more than enough, I thought. And the next thing is to finally make a sand duper. It's been a couple thousand days in this world and I've not made one yet. I think I just wanted the extra challenge, and I've mined a few hundred chests of sand and gravel, and concrete for that matter, but it's just time. It takes way too long and we're gonna need it for this TNT. If you haven't made one of these before, it's surprisingly simple. All you do is build down with the dirt like this, put a mushroom down, grow it, and it gets rid of the portals. And then making the actual redstone machine took maybe 30 minutes. So definitely one of the easier machines we've done. And after letting that run for a few hours, it's time to finally craft all the TNT. My biggest fear while placing all this TNT was a creeper coming up on me and blowing it up, and me being stuck within the range. And that's kind of what happened here. That's actually exactly what happened here. Luckily I survived that though. Keeping a few totems on hand is definitely a good idea. I should probably start doing that instead of, almost dying like I did here. But even with all of that TNT, the progress was not very good. As you can see, extra blocks are just everywhere. It would take me months to mine out all of these, and it's just not worth it. So I think we need to move this museum onto the surface. Even over 30,000 pieces of TNT was not enough. That's just insane. But since building on the surface will be a lot easier, we can just skip straight to getting the materials at least. And first up is building a frog light farm. We gotta make it extra safe within this museum, so we're gonna have lights like every few blocks. And not very many materials are actually needed for this farm, so we gathered them up quick and built it up. Next thing we need are some frogs, and I've not actually interacted with frogs at all in this game before, so learning how to breed them, travel with them, get them to the nether, it was all quite the process, and it took a whole Saturday, and yes, I wasted a whole Saturday on this. But eventually we got all 3 types of frogs over to the farm. A few more than recommended, but we want this thing to be very fast, and it's time to give it a nice little test. And luckily it was a success. This farm will give us everything we need. I didn't even have to stay here for longer than an hour. Now next up is the big one, quartz. We're gonna be using way too much. About, 40 double chests of quartz of every single type, which I really would not recommend doing in survival, but here we are. So we're gonna do a test. Is it faster to get quartz by mining or trading? And after about an hour of each, the answer is very obvious that trading with piglins is the way to go. Unfortunately, my trading farm is not very great. I went more for looks last episode when I made this, but now it's time to actually kick this into gear, so we need a new farm. And it does everything we need. We got 25 or so piglins in here trading at all times, plenty of gold all ready to go, a sorting system, and it all works great. So now we just need to sit here for a while and let it go. And by a while, I ended up doing about a week. We also need a few chests of blackstone, so this is perfect for that. Next up on the list for farms is solving just a general Minecraft issue. Having enough cobblestone and stone for everything you need to craft in this game. So we went overboard again and made a very strong farm. Now bear with me, I know this seems like a lot of farms, but this is a raid farm, and as you saw with all that TNT, it can be dangerous out here. So I need to solve this whole totem issue. Raid farms of course need a lot of villagers, and I saw this cool trick online that villagers can just go in a boat and you fly with them. It didn't work with fireworks, but got me close enough to the water that it worked fairly well. Unfortunately, raid farms kinda suck now, so getting this to give me a lot of emeralds and whetstone won't really work too well, which are kind of the main things I want, because all you really need is a few totems. So it's not going to help a lot, but it'll be better than nothing. Overall, villagers just suck. Every time I deal with them, I forget how much. Probably why I don't have an iron farm yet. And last farm, I promise. A pumpkin farm. Because part of this museum is going to have a lot of colors. And orange is one of those colors. And what better way to do orange than pumpkins? And it was very close to Halloween when I made this, a couple weeks before so. Yeah, I do videos way ahead of time just because I hate editing and I'm a bit behind. But it ended up being a very cool jack-o'-lantern. And after about a month and a half of prep work and failed mining expeditions, I guess you could say, it's time to start this build. We need a good base, so that's what I'm going to use all the blackstone from the piglin farm for. Next up is going back and forth with a couple colors of concrete powder. That sand duper definitely came in handy here. Followed by the start of our quartz juice and the frog lights. And finally, the whole point of a museum, the places where you actually put things. But instead of cages, we're just going to have a simple pedestal that we can place each block on. And now, all we need to do is grab the last few materials that you don't get from a farm, or at least I haven't built a farm for, and we'll be ready to start the color side of this. We're going to follow the rainbow for a color scheme here, Roy G. Biv. And we kind of followed the same pattern for each of the colors. There's concrete, terracotta, glazed terracotta, wool, but each of them have a unique block like pumpkins or the other ones. To speed this up though, we're just going to do a quick shot by shot of these colors going down. So here's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo or cyan here, and violet. Now I wasn't too sure of this design going into it. I haven't seen anything like it, and getting the colors at the curves of these buildings was kind of hard because it's just a straight line, but I think I like how it turned out. And now it's time for the big part of the build, placing down all of the quartz blocks. We got every single type of quartz here, and we're ready to get going. It's a very simple pattern. We're just rotating randomly through every type of quartz block, and it kind of makes a pattern on its own. So we're just filling the gap between the rainbow. And just like that, the museum is now done. It's definitely not a very complex design, but it challenged me a bit here and there, and I like how it came out. But now it's time for the actual part of this video where the title came from. We're going to be following the creative menu when it comes to what order to place these blocks down. So I took the time to go through and place them all down in creative and then just copied a schematic over so we can make sure not to miss any. We're going to get started with all the different types of woods. There's a lot of things you can craft with every single variant of wood, so we just kind of need to get started with that. We don't have all of those yet, so we need to do a bit of farming and crafting, but shouldn't take too long. So after using our tree farms for the normal woods, the mangrove woods, we had to collect a few manually still, but overall it wasn't too bad. And while doing this, I'm collecting a stack of every single block in the game. That way, when we make a sorting system, probably a year from now if I ever actually get to that, we'll be ready. But with all that prep time, museum building, and everything else, it's finally time to place the first blocks. After the woods, it's time for all the different stones and sands and everything else you can craft with them. One of the tougher and more time-consuming blocks to get for this whole build is the netherite block. We gotta get 9 different ingots, which means we have to get all the scrap involved to craft that. So we spent a few hours in the nether just blowing everything up. I guess everything we did for the TNT earlier in the video came in use. We also are going for every single copper variant and every type of aging it can do. So we had to wait for that a bit. And because I wanted to get all the heavy crafting out of the way, we spent a night just getting every single variant of every color of block. So we got all of our wools, terracotta, concretes, banners, beds, candles, everything of every single color. And now it's time for that final push. Here is every block in the game. We did it. We went out, built a giant museum. We left room to grow for future updates. The Resin update actually just came out a couple days ago while I'm editing this. I did not want to delay and go back and get that, but I will definitely be adding them in the future. So let me know what you guys think. Was this a great build? Was it not? Could it have used something different? How'd you think of the video? What was the editing like? Let me know what you guys think so I can do better in the future. Thanks, subscribe, like, and have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye. "'Twas the night before Christmas in my hardcore domain. Not a mob could be seen, not a creeper nor bane. The mushroom island lay quiet, untouched in its hue, but an idea was brewing of something brand new. A winter wonderland, I said with a grin. This mushroomy island will be where we begin. With an axe in my hand, I chopped without pause, removing these mushrooms for a much better cause. The stumps fell in piles, the caps tumbled down. The island would soon wear a frosty new crown. But snow would be needed to blanket the ground, and for that, a contraption, a brilliance was found. An auto snow farm, what a wonderful tool, to cover this land with a layer so cool. Layer by layer, the island transformed into a wintry wonder where magic was born. The mushrooms were gone, now snow lay instead, a blanket of white where the mycelium fled. The work wasn't easy, but the goal was in sight, to bring forth the joy of a cold Christmas night. But every great wonder needs something unique. A towering mountain, a whimsical peak. Inspired by the Grinch, it would rise to the sky. A project so grand, it would make hours fly. "13 long hours, block after block, each placed with precision to shape every rock. Emerald and white, its colors so bold, a nod to the Grinch and his story retold." Two snowmen appeared, both mighty and tall, with a nod to dear Frosty, the greatest of all. Their carrot noses and smiles so wide brought holiday cheer from every side. A globe of glass, a sight to behold, inside a world both frosty and cold. From netherrack mined to concrete's plight, each block placed turned Sunday to night. The work was exhausting, the hours dragged on, yet piece by piece the vision was drawn. A shimmering sphere of festive delight, a jewel for the island lit soft by moonlight. The tree took shape with leaves so green, spruce wood from forests they'd thoroughly gleaned. A skirt at the base, detailed and neat, and decorations to make it complete. With ornaments shining and lights all aglow, it captured the spirit of joy in the snow. At the top, a bright star, a beacon of cheer, a symbol of hope for the holiday year. the branches adorned with garlands so bright, sparkling in hues of gold and white. With each careful touch, the tree came alive, a wonder of Christmas, where spirits thrive. Santa's workshop rose, a sight to adore, with houses for elves, 5 and then more. Red terracotta and concrete so bright created a village of holiday delight. Each house was unique, with candy cane trims, windows aglow with soft, festive whims. A chimney for Santa to bring gifts with care, a gingerbread haven beyond compare. Vines were enshrined, connecting it all, as though Christmas magic had answered the call. From house to house, the spirit would spread, a village of dreams where memories are bred. The roofs were adorned with frosting and sweets, a delicious display of sugary feats. Paths were laid with gumdrops and cheer, a village alive with holiday gear. An ice rink appeared, a place for some cheer, with candy canes and trees to bring joy near. A polished expanse where villagers glide, laughter and fun on the icy slide. But what's a Christmas without gifts to share, wrapped up in wool with festive care? Each present was placed with precision and thought, a treasure of joy that Santa had brought. Beneath every tree, on pathways in snow, the island was dotted with boxes aglow. Their colors so bright, like candies they gleamed, a vision of Christmas, as though from a dream. With ribbons of red and bows of gold, each package a story yet to unfold. The gifts spread joy from the island's heart, a scene of love, a festive art. With glass of all colors, the oars took flight, a masterpiece glowing in the dark, snowy night. 1,000 blocks placed to light up the air, a finale so grand, beyond compare. Like ribbons of magic, they danced through the skies, reflecting the wonder in villagers' eyes. An ethereal glow, a sight to amaze, a crowning achievement for all to praise. The oars shimmered, their beauty so bright, a dreamscape of colors, a Christmas delight. Above the island, their brilliance would soar, marking the season forevermore. Within the snow globe, a tribute was made to the Mushroom Island where dreams were laid. A journey remembered from start to end. To the winter wonderland they did transcend. A frozen reminder, so small yet profound, of the land that once was, now snow-covered ground. A moment of silence, a story retold, of transformation and dreams turned to gold. And so ends the tale of snow and delight, of an island transformed on this holiday night. With a wish to all viewers, both far and near, Merry Christmas to all, and a Happy New Year. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving the video a like. Spent the last couple months on this video, and I decided to go for something I haven't seen before and try to do like a Christmas story here, and I hope it turned out well. Thanks, and have a good one. Bye. What if Squid Games existed in Minecraft Hardcore? Today we're going big, bold, and brutal to recreate the chaos in block form. This is going to be one of the craziest builds I've ever done, so let's get started. To give this project the colorful vibes of Squid Games, we're going to need a ridiculous amount of colored concrete. Which means we need to make a duplicator. Every time I've tried to make one of these in the past, it did not go well. But hopefully this time it can go a bit better. Now, we're not going to go out and mine sand and gravel for this. We're going to use our duplicator, because this is many thousands of blocks here. So, let's get all the colors, and then let's put them through the converter. Now, as you can see, this build's going to need over 200,000 blocks, and that's going to take a while to gather. We've got most of the concrete done, but now we need to get everything else. So let's do a quick montage of getting all those. To help me build this giant structure of a show, I went and searched around Google for some kind of Squid Games build, because it's copying a show, so there's really only so much variation. So big thanks to GinTube, who I found online, and I mostly copied the build, but made a few modifications to each just to make it a little bit different. One of the hardest parts is getting all the concrete and all the other materials over to our build site. I only have about 20 shulker boxes, and this is quite a lot more than that. But with our materials gathered, it's time to kind of get started. And to do that, we're going to need some beacons to speed this whole process up. So I placed some speed and jump beacons around the entire build. It's a good thing I've got a nice farm and a few stacks of beacons. And after we clear out this village and a bunch of other terrain in the area, it's time to get building. And the first step to bringing Squid Games to life is starting with the iconic starting room. The bunk beds, the designs on the walls, it all needs to feel just like the show. And note to self, never build the ceiling first, because it makes building bunk beds a nightmare with all these mobs. Next up is the red light, green light room, kind of where the whole games begin. And to build it, I'm going to need a lot of wheat blocks, which means a lot of wheat. And I don't really have a great farm for that. So let's throw together a quick little redstone farm. So to make this whole build process a bit easier, I'm going to start by making the outline and structure of all the buildings first, and then we'll go back and decorate later. That way we can get all the heavy block placement out of the way. And pretty quickly I realized that my food supply is just not going to cut it. I'm just going with whatever I have from the first episode still. So I think we need to upgrade. So let's use that little wheat farm from earlier and put some carrots in it and then make some golden carrots. Should be the best food in the game, so should be good enough for us. And as we get back to building, we're really starting to see the scope of this all come together. It's quite a massive build, and it's going to keep us going for quite a while here. The next building is the Dalgona room. I'm gonna need an insane amount of ice for this. Luckily, we already got all of that earlier, and that polar bear baby might not have made it, but luckily we did, and that's all that matters in hardcore. Now for the game that really brought the whole team together in the show, Tug of War. It's quite a massive room, and it really gives you an idea of just what large scope this project is and what kind of things the characters in the show went through. And this ominous design really captures the tension of the game. Next up is the location of some of the saddest scenes in the show, the Marble Room game. We lost some of the greatest characters here, some that we barely even knew that made a big impact, and hopefully the details give it justice. And finally, the last big room, the Glass Bridge room. It's a very fancy room, and it has some weird light sources all around. So we're gonna start by gathering glowstone by trading and then mining in the nether. But that didn't get us too far, considering I needed about 33 stacks of glowstone. So a little bit into it, I started switching to froglight, since we'll be covering these later anyways. And now with the main structures done, as you can see, it's time for the fun part. Decorating and actually giving these rooms some life. All the little details that make the show what it was, it's time to throw all those in. In the starting room, we already got the bunk beds and everything, so now we just need to kind of fix up the entrance a bit with some quartz stairs, some flooring, and just the little details that really will make this place go. Next up is the red light green light room. We gotta put the iconic doll in, even though she might be super creepy. It's what makes the game the game. Next up is the Dalgona room, which has kind of a fun yet unsettling vibe. I added all the giant playground equipment, just like the show, and I think it came out fairly nice. The colors are a bit hard to match with what's available in the game, but the wooden fences of different colors, I think, made it really pop. Next up is the tug of war room, which is all about suspense. Chains, a massive rope, and just a giant structure give it that ominous look, while dim lighting enhances the atmosphere. Now the marble room. This is the room I least looked forward to decorating just because there's so many walls, so many details, and it's very hard to get right, as you can see from this material list. So I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to need to collect some clay for all the bricks needed, and just all the other materials are going to take a bit to get, but hopefully it comes out looking good. And then, time for the glass bridge room. This is the point in the show where you knew that things were about to go down, and they did. I covered all of the light sources at the bottom, like I said earlier, just to give some more color to the room. It really didn't matter that I used frog lights for most of it. And then I threw the glass in, and it looks pretty dang cool. And just like that, the Squid Games build is complete. Every detail, every room. It's one of the cooler projects I've made, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So what do you think? Should we try hosting a Squid Games in this? Should I try building Squid Games Season 2? Or should I even try to make this all a redstone build so you can actually play the game? Let me know what you think, and possibly I'll give it a shot. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more hardcore adventures, and I'll see you next time. See ya! breeding is a simple mechanic in Minecraft. You take your food and feed it to two mobs and they create a baby. But when you want to breed on a large scale, that's when it becomes a challenge. But that challenge is exactly what we're here to do today, because we're not just breeding a couple hundred or even a few thousand mobs. We're here to breed 1 million mobs as quickly as we possibly can. So let's settle in and figure out exactly what this will take. So far in this world, we've only bred less than 4,000 mobs, which is kind of crazy considering I think I've done quite a lot of farming in this world. So to do this, we're going to need a base of operations. And what better way for a breeding farm than to make a giant Minecraft bed? So I think we're going to make it in this zone, and we're definitely going to need a lot of materials for that, so let's figure out what all that's going to take. In Minecraft, there are 22 mobs that you can breed, but I really only need one to make this farm a reality, and I decided to go with the sheep because it's kind of the iconic Minecraft mob. And there's probably some that would be easier to do this whole project with, but you can't beat icons. So with sheep in mind, our plan for this project is to make the largest villager wheat farm I've ever seen. That way I can sustain constant 24/7 sheep breeding, and to do that I'm going to need to have wheat flow next to my player so I'm constantly picking it up, while I also have a full stack in my hand that can breed. So I'm going to need the sheep to be constantly flowing next to me as well, and because there's a 5-minute cooling breed down, they need to have enough space to travel between breeds. So I'm going to have probably 2 large farms with this, and it's definitely going to be quite the project to build those, but as we get the materials, it should start to come together. I am a little worried about the lag this project might make, with having a couple hundred villagers, constant wheat and seeds always flowing around, as well as hundreds of sheep, but that's probably a problem for later. So for my materials, redstone was a very big part of it, which is why I made that witch farm, and that was actually the first witch farm I've made in probably 12 years, so I'm glad it worked out, even though they definitely are a lot better than they were back then when you had to build a whole hole and dig the whole chunk out basically. It was a lot easier. But we also had to get all of our concrete, all the different woods, a bunch of dirt for the actual farm, and then a bunch of iron because there's going to be a lot of buckets and everything else involved with this. But with all of our materials on hand, we are finally able to get building, right after this annoying little creeper explosion. Now the actual bed is nothing you haven't seen before. I tried to copy just a basic Minecraft red bed, and maybe you haven't seen it at this size and scale before, or at least I couldn't find any maps out there that I could copy, so I actually had to go make this myself. For me, this entire project started back in January, so it's been quite a few months, and it was actually made at a time when I was traveling quite a lot for work. So I made this giant Minecraft bed while at hotels for the most part. So it's a very good thing that I chose a single player game and not something that required good internet. For the actual villager farm part of this, I'm just going to go with some basic Minecraft knowledge, since I really don't want to come up with some fancy redstone design. So I just made the basic block where you have one villager in there with wheat to farm, and then just expanded it another 220 times. The basic premise of the farm is actually pretty simple. You just need water every few blocks so that the wheat doesn't go away. You need a composter to be in the area so the villager has a job. And you want to try to put some trapdoors around the composter so that villagers don't make bread with the wheat. One way to also help with that is make it so villagers don't pick up the wheat, which is something I'm going to try later. With the farm utilities in place, we were actually able to start making the villager breeder. And this was just another simple design where I just went and grabbed a few villagers from a nearby village, which was actually a reason that we made this whole farm in this area so that the villagers were nearby. I farmed many hours of wheat and carrots and just other general stuff so that I could make the villagers farm and breed even quicker. And I just sat back and waited for a few hundred villagers to be made. But I wasn't just sitting idle during that. You can't just sit around and wait for villagers to breed. So I went out and did what makes you kind of the ultimate Minecrafter. I made a netherite hole before lighting up the area real quick. Then it was time to start tilling this whole farm ground. And that netherite hoe was actually nowhere near enough. I just kind of did that for the clip and achievement. I went through the netherite hoe and about 3 or 4 more diamond hoes at the same time. After all that heavy block placement, we needed a change of pace, so I switched to the redstone heavy part of this with making the collection system. And so I needed to find one that would do that fast enough, since wheat is going to constantly be flowing in, and I don't want to have the wheat sitting there for a long time, so I can't have the minecarts just sitting at the end unloading as it goes. So I took one of the end concrete dupers that I used a few videos ago and just multiplied it to fit this whole system, which meant I needed a couple hundred of them. And that's definitely going to make a lot of lag, but I think it works pretty well. And it's also very resource intense, which is why I needed all of the different like observers, dispensers, and everything else. But we threw everything together, threw the minecarts into the farm, and it almost worked on the first try. We just made a few tweaks, but then it started to work. Once this farm's going, we're going to have a near limitless supply of seeds, but for now, we're going to need to farm a few 100,000 of them. So we used this quick little automated farm and just kind of sat there for a few nights, really just farming away. And one of the big reasons I need all these seeds is the 220 or so villagers I'm going to drop into this farm. I want to fill their inventories with seeds so that they don't pick up wheat. And then I placed all the seeds into the farm and we were ready to go. It's not often that you see villagers raining from the sky, but that's exactly what we saw here when I decided to empty out the villager farm down into the actual wheat farm. And as the villagers dispersed to fill this whole space, I decided just to watch it a little while and see if everything's working. And luckily it did. The collection system was getting all the items down into the path. So now it's time for stage 2 to build the sheep farm part of this. So I started by going into a creative world and just finding out how many blocks does a sheep need to travel for it to travel 5 minutes. And I needed it to be a closed loop, so that's what I built into this. And it took about over 100 blocks, so I need to transport each sheep at least 100 blocks after it gets bred. And with that in mind, I tested like 6 different designs, each of them just doing a quick test to see how many breeds I can get in an hour in a creative world, and I finally came up with my final design. So I had my material list and was able to get out going. But first I had to break down that villager breeder. And as you could see from that material list, it's not going to be too intensive of a farm. I just needed a lot of ice and glass and signs and water. And not to mention patience. When the frame of the structure was in, I was able to get all the signs placed down, and then all the water within the signs. And another key piece of this farm, lava. There's going to be 1 million baby sheep coming out of this thing, and I do not want all of those to stay alive and lagging the world. So I need a way for them to die without killing the adult sheep. So I just had this 1 block gap in the farm at a few places with lava there, so that the sheep would just go in and die. And with the farm all built, it was time to get the sheep in place. So I went out into a nearby meadow and just put a few sheep in a boat before flying on over to the farm. We spent a few hours breeding them, and by a few I mean a few nights, but we got a couple hundred sheep in place and we were able to break them down into the farm, which should be enough. And with both parts of this farm built, it was time to give our first test and see how many sheep we could actually breed. And the numbers were good, but they were nowhere near the 100,000 I got in creative mode, so I needed to make quite a lot of tweaks to this whole thing. And really all those tweaks ended up doing was make lag, but I didn't know that at the time. But let's give you an idea of how this whole farm actually works. So underneath the wheat farm, I have this whole rail collection system that goes to the end where the minecart gets broken down by these lava cauldrons and all the items explode into this water template. From there, it goes to a sorting system where I sort out all of the wheat, and because there's a lot of wheat, I needed like 8 or so sorters. And then all of these get thrown into a dispenser that is able to, with a clock, just shoot everything into a new water stream. And that water stream then flows until it hits my player. After all the other items like bone meal and bread get dispensed into a different area and all leftovers just thrown into a fire, you can see that the items and the wheat just go flowing right by me, and everything I don't pick up goes up into this water stream where it then gets crafted into hay blocks just so I don't need 1 million chests here. And thank God for the auto crafter once again. But with that, it's time to start what became a multi-month just AFK session where I stand there with my mouse clicked and it breeds sheep. And right around here is actually where I hit day 5,000 in this world. And a lot of that is from AFKing and this farm and the pigment farm and all the other farms I've made. But I've also had quite a lot of projects in this world. So thank you everyone that's watched so far of these videos. And if you've liked it so far, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on what you'd like to see next. And let's get back to breeding. Because after a few more 100 days, we hit 500,000 sheep. We are halfway to our goal. One thing I noticed this whole time is that the lag is really bad and probably slowing me down way more than I wanted it to. And probably I have more sheep in this farm than I need, and more villagers for that matter, but for now let's just stick with killing out some of the sheep. After that, we quickly hit 750,000 animals bred. Before hitting our goal of 1 million animals bred. Which, whoa, what a journey. And what better way to celebrate than by killing all the sheep in this farm? We hopefully won't need them again. I can't imagine there's ever going to be a need to breed more animals than we just did. So, we gotta get rid of them. No witnesses. We tidied up the project by putting a cover onto the bed, just so that it looks like a completed project whenever I fly by here in the future. And we did it. We hit the goal of 1 million mobs bred in Minecraft Hardcore. I haven't seen a challenge like this before out there on YouTube. If you have, leave me a link or tell me who to search so I can go see how they did it. And if you think you can come up with a better design, let me know. Or if you have any ideas on how I could take this even further, let me know that too. And thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. And quick side note, the Enderman did a number on the surrounding environment here.